You're hiding behind a crate. A bullet's left in your handgun. Terrified, you look around the corner to see one of the members of the Baker family, looking for you. They're looking to kill you. You quickly fall back behind the crate. You must make one of two decisions. Do you fight the monster and down it for a couple minutes to safely look around the house for ammo and supplies? Or do you sneak and maneuver your way around the monster to save your ammo and quietly search the house? That choice is yours. Hello everyone, my name is Sego and welcome to my review of Resident Evil 7. This review is 100% my opinion of the game and will be spoiler free. I don't get sponsored for these videos and I never will, so yeah, that's it for that. So let's get to this review, shall we? Resident Evil has had a pretty impressive history if you look back at it. Most of the games have been highly praised and it has been one of the best survival horror franchises out there. But starting with Resident Evil 5 and ending with the game that we should never talk about, Resident Evil 6, things seemed off. Capcom decided to get away from the survival horror aspect of the game and go for a more action approach. The fans, though, were not happy with these changes, and Capcom heard the fans and gave us Resident Evil 7. But instead of giving us the old kind of Resident Evil game, Capcom said, hey, you know what, let's reinvent the genre again like we did with 4, and show everyone else how to make a great survival horror game, and that's what they did here. Resident Evil 7 takes place 4 years after the events of Resident Evil 6. But don't worry, people who want to play this game but never have played a Resident Evil game, you don't have to have any previous knowledge of the past RE games. This pretty much starts you out fresh. You play as Ethan Winters, a brand new protagonist to the game, and unlike the rest of the protagonists in the other games, Ethan is not a soldier, he's just your everyday man. The start of the story has Ethan going to the bayou of Louisiana in search of his missing wife. All trails lead to a mansion in what seems like the middle of nowhere. And once there, Ethan is kidnapped by the Baker family, a murderous cannibal family, who, quote, want us to join the family. Yeah, sounds great, right? Like most people, I really thought this game was going to be a lot like Texas Chainsaw Massacre because of the previews, especially when they're all sitting at the table with all that human meat in front of them. Everyone got that Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. But sure, there are some aspects of that kind of movie in it. What I really got from the game was a more Evil Dead vibe, especially when you get 10 minutes into the game. It's totally Evil Dead, I felt, and it 100% works for this game. I actually love that they took aspects of that from there to here, and it works well for the game. Now, I won't go much more into the story, because if I go any farther into the story, there's going to be spoilers, and this game you have to play. The story's really good, but I will say one thing. There is a reason this is a Resident Evil game. I know a lot of people were like, well, why isn't this a new IP? It doesn't look like it even connects to the Resident Evil games. Just keep playing, you'll figure out why this is a Resident Evil game. Now let's talk about gameplay and combat. Unlike other of the more recent Resident Evil games, combat in this one is about the smaller, more intense encounters with the Baker family and with the monsters called the Molded. You're not going to be running into a room with a bunch of monsters and you're going to gun them down. No. Instead of running into the room, you have to think about what's in that room. You have to think, do I want to waste these bullets? Do I want to waste, maybe if I get hit, maybe the herbs? This isn't Resident Evil 5 or 6 where, oh, I'm going to have all this ammo to go around and kill everything. No, maybe on the lowest difficulty, maybe you can get away with that. But if you're playing on, say, normal or the hardest difficulty, this is not, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to run out of ammo pretty fast. One thing, though, about combat is aiming is a bit slow even on the highest sensitivity setting. So rushing into the fray was never a smart option, I would say, even for me. Like, there was this one encounter I can think of where there were 3 of them molded. I just kind of rushed in there and I tried to aim, and the head bobbing was still on for an option, which if you get headaches easily, you might want to turn that off. And it was kind of hard to shoot with that head bobbing, and he just kind of panicked and rushed in there and tried to shoot when I really didn't have the ammo. So this definitely isn't Resident Evil 5 or 6 where you can rush in there and just start shooting. That isn't to say that the fighting isn't enjoyable, because each battle has a chance of being your last, especially if you don't have the ammo or the medical supplies you need. I can remember one instance where I had, I think it was 2 bullets left in my gun, and I knew right ahead of me was a room with a couple more. I'm like, well, how am I going to get past this? Is there a way I can get past this now? And fortunately, I was able to run like hell through the monsters, screaming my way through. But you know what? In the end, it worked. But fortunately, fighting isn't the only priority in this survival horror game. Though the first hour may seem a little straightforward, it's not long after until the pace changes and Ethan is locked in a house with puzzles, locked doors, and of course, safe rooms. Yes, you heard that right. Safe rooms are back in the game, but instead of a typewriter, it's a tape recorder. Yes, they finally upgraded to a future technology. And you have your storage box, and sometimes there's loot in the safe room. And of course, when I mean loot, I mean bullets, your herbs, stuff like that. Scavenging for bullets and other items and managing your inventory is back in a big way that's really simple to navigate and really nice. You can hold a certain number of healing items, bullets, keys, or mixing regions at any given time, so you always have to be smart about what you're going to take with you, what you're going to take into the next room. You always have to plan ahead. It's always planning ahead that you have to think about. Combining items is also in this game, and I think it's probably one of the more interesting and important parts of the game. Chemical fluid can be found and mixed with either gunpowder for bullets or herbs for a stronger first aid medicine. Now, you may think, well, I'm just going to keep it and craft ammo because this is a survival horror game and I'm probably going to need the ammo a lot. Well, you don't always want to do that right away when you find these 2 items, because you never know what's going to wait around you in a corner. There were many times where I was thinking, well, do I want the extra ammo, or do I want to be more defensive and, have the herbs that I need to keep myself alive during this part of the game? Because monsters will hit you, the Baker family will grab you and hurt you, and it will cause damage. There are other combinations in the game like stronger ammo and psychostimulants, which highlight all items on the map. And little note here, make sure you're looking around the room, because you don't know how much you've missed until you've eaten one of those psychostimulants and seen all over what that room actually had. So in the end, never just craft away, keep it off until you know what's ahead. Big thing there. Now, I would be amiss if I didn't talk a little bit about the boss fights. Yes, there are some boss fights in this game, a couple, I won't go into how many, and I gotta say, they are probably the most disappointing part of the game. And come to think of it, I don't think most Resident Evil games have that many interesting boss fights. I could maybe think of one in a Resident Evil game I really liked. And then the same thing in Resident Evil 7. There's only one I can think of that I really enjoyed. The other just simple and had boring fight design. I don't know what they were trying here. In fact, I think it would have been better if this game did not have the boss fights. That's how much I did not like them. I never thought a Resident Evil game could work in first person, but I was wrong. So wrong, in fact, I think this might be one of the best, if not the best, Resident Evil game to date. Capcom has definitely delivered on what they said they would, a true survival horror game. And I can only hope that Capcom keeps this up and gives us more games like this in the future with Resident Evil. In the end, Resident Evil 7 is definitely a game you should pick up, right now. Go do it. I give Resident Evil 7 a 9 out of 10. I never thought a Resident Evil game could work in first person, but I was wrong. So wrong, in fact, I think this might be one of the best, if not the best, Resident Evil game to date. Capcom has definitely delivered on what they said they would, a true survival horror game. And I can only hope that Capcom keeps this up and gives us more games like this in the future with Resident Evil. In the end, Resident Evil 7 is definitely a game you should pick up, right now. Go do it. I give Resident Evil 7 a 9 out of 10. Well, there you have it, guys, my review of Resident Evil 7. My first review on YouTube, too, so I hope you enjoyed it. I know I gotta work on editing. Editing still needs some improvements. But thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you would like to see in these reviews. Tell me what I should improve on. And check out the links in the description below. They have some links there you can go to help support me. I have a Twitch that I play on, I guess or stream on, I should say. But that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the review, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.